Hey everyone, I'm TJ.
I'm JP.
And I'm CP, and welcome back to our realm. Welcome also to the first in our Freestyle review series. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a discussion video, but with a little bit more structure to it. We're going to basically just review our movies and our video games this way, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. To kick it off, the first thing that we're going to be reviewing this way is Spider-Man Homecoming, which we saw last night. So we're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. And we're going to start off with a non-spoiler section, and then later on in the video we're going to get to a spoiler section. So there should be a Spider-Man face on the right side of the screen somewhere. If you see it on the right side of the screen, you know you're in the non-spoiler section, you're safe. And if you decide, or if you see it later on in the left side of the screen, you know you're in the spoiler section. So Spider-Man Homecoming is basically about a group of like super criminals that are kind of like these sort of garage working type people that, you know, used to be contractors but lost their jobs and are now making super weapons, and that's pretty much the whole conflict in the movie. Spider-Man has to figure that out while also dealing with just normal high school stuff. So let's go ahead and start talking non-spoilers. I'll let you guys go first.
I feel as though the actor for Spider-Man actually did a really good job.
Yeah, Tom
Holland. I feel as though it felt natural to me.
Yeah.
It didn't feel forced like the other Spider-Man did. What was his name?
Maguire or Garfield?
Garfield.
Well, honestly, they both. I kind of agree. Holland felt more believable as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he seemed like this dorky loser kid that could also kind of be sarcastic and jokey. Previous Spider-Mans have kind of like either had the nerd Spider-Man, like really emphasized the nerd and the loser, Maguire, or have had like the cool guy, sarcastic, slick Garfield type. This one seems to be a nice balance of in between, like the actual blend that is Spider-Man of both of those characteristics. So
Yeah,
that's points.
I was good with all of the Spider-Man actors, really, and Holland reminded me a lot of Tobey Maguire.
Did you really?
It felt.
Yeah,
It felt
and I think maybe that was intentional, because there's a lot that wasn't wrong with the original, at least the first two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never disliked
And
the
there's
first
really a
ones.
lot that wasn't wrong that wasn't wrong with the Garfield movies either. So I think overall, and that I was going to mention this later, but since I'm saying it, I felt like overall they did a good job of kind of bringing in a lot of those notes and tones and feelings from the previous 5 Spider-Man movies, and just kind of letting it still be, Sony's Spider-Man.
Yeah, true. While we're on that, I guess we should mention this is definitely a high school movie more than it is like a superhero movie, and that's not a bad thing, by the way.
Yeah, that was good for it.
It was funny and it was enjoyable, but you are going to be seeing sort of I guess I'd compare it to Scott Pilgrim, but not even really. You're going to see that whole like
it's
high
more
school.
relaxed than that.
Yeah, you're going to see that whole, like, high school teenager, he's got to go to the dance, and here's the one shot. We have, like, the one shot of, like, the pretty girl walking in slow motion and the wind blowing through her hair, and Holland just, like,
And every once in a while, those little notes or just hints at something like Napoleon Dynamite or something like that.
Yeah.
Not much, not overt, just kind of, on the down low.
Yeah. So I guess you could say this is a lot more of an internal Spider-Man, low stakes, high school kind of thing, and that's fun. That's honestly, if we're going to do that with a superhero, I think Spider-Man is the one to do that with, so that's fun. And yes, we do have a whole scene with the dance and everything. It is called Spider-Man Homecoming, so you're gonna see that.
I really liked the villain as well.
The villain was fun.
What's his name? Michael Keaton.
The Vulture and Michael Keaton playing him.
Yeah.
I thought he was good too.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
It could have easily gone over the top.
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout.
Or kind of been underwhelming. But I think he hit the right spot.
What I liked about him was that the movie opens up with him. The movie opens up and builds him up as a character, and you actually kind of sympathize with him at the beginning. You don't realize he's going to be the villain necessarily. And
Well,
we'll get more into
Unless
that.
you've already seen the
Yeah.
We'll get more into that in the spoilers, I guess, too. And yeah, I guess if you already know comic
Yeah.
books, but you like the guy who's actually in the suit. I mean, so you don't necessarily realize that he's gonna be the bad guy, when you first see him on screen, and they do a lot to build him up as a character. There's even, I guess this isn't a spoiler. There's even a part where he does kill somebody, but he looks at, he's like, oh man, I had the wrong weapon. I meant to just neutralize him. So he's not totally diabolical, but he's still willing to kill and do bad things, and you sympathize for his reasons why.
Yeah.
So that's a cool.
Yeah, you definitely feel some empathy for him, and but he is still morally compromised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
sure.
so
Especially as the movie goes
it's okay
on.
when when bad things happen to him. You don't mind.
Yeah.
I was gonna say with the beginning of the movie, with that, quick, concise, efficient characterization of the villain, followed by the same thing with Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Peter Parker. It was really, really nice, really efficient, just kind of getting those characters set up, and then it goes from there.
Yeah.
I appreciated that, and I almost thought maybe it was going to be too efficient,
Yeah.
Sometimes movies get transparent when they're trying to cover ground quickly and just get to the point, and move on to the plot.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it just hit that right spot where...
It wasn't
kinda-
really predictable.
Yeah.
Which that's something I'll give it. The movie,
there were a lot of subverted tropes. I
yeah,
think.
exactly. You think you know what you're gonna be in for when you go to a Spider-Man movie. You're gonna see the Uncle Ben scene. You think you're gonna see him get by a spider. At least it's gonna be covered. No, man, that's not in here. Uncle Ben's not mentioned once. There is no bite your hand scene. There are even actually some subversions that we'll get more into in the spoilers, from just the traditional formula with a Spider-Man movie that they flat out don't do here, and they do the opposite. So it will actually keep you on your toes, despite the trailer it did give away some beats, some minor beats, but not so much that you're gonna be guessing everything that happens in the movie. You're not. You're gonna be surprised, and you're gonna be able to enjoy it. So
I will say that this is one of the only superhero movies to actually make me laugh. I had all the jokes and everything in other Marvel movies didn't make me they didn't hit home for me.
Yeah, I think they're usually a little basic
Yeah.
and easy jokes.
Well,
This was a little more organically humorous. I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
the jokes from me were a little hit and miss. It was I was either I never cringed. I never looked at a joke and was like, oh, that was horrible.
Yeah. No.
But a joke would either make me laugh, or I would just be like, okay, keep going, movie. Just wouldn't really care. So, but yeah, the humor is okay. The humor isn't. I wouldn't say it's anything amazing or special.
Well, it's not a comedy. It doesn't need to be that.
This isn't Deadpool. You're not gonna get any Deadpool off the wall, third wall breaking humor, but
Fourth wall.
fourth wall breaking humor. Edit that out.
So back to the origin stuff real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that again with the writing here we found a good middle ground between being this new Spider-Man's origin story and not being an origin story, because it kind of still is.
Well,
his origin story.
they integrated
very
Tony.
much a novice Spider-Man.
They integrated Tony into the origin story, which I thought was pretty cool.
But as you said, it's still not my uncle dies and I get bit by a spider.
Yeah.
Which we've seen, twice now.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I appreciated that.
I guess I should say they make some reference to the idea that Uncle Ben isn't around. Like, you never see him. He's living with his Aunt May, but Uncle Ben isn't there. And at one point he does say something like, I can't let her find out about Spider-Man
with
because
everything that's been going on.
Yeah, with everything that's been going on with her. So they kind of, hint that, he's dead, but they don't, make it a huge plot point or anything. But yeah, it's interesting that Tony Stark is basically the father figure / mentor figure in this one.
Right.
This Spider-Man actually makes me want to see him grow. I'm looking forward to seeing him grow as a character as the movies go on.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more.
Yes,
Spider-Man
actually,
will return.
we're gonna just real quick. I'll mention this. There are two after credit scenes, not just one. So stay for the whole thing. Let the credits actually finish rolling. And they basically do say that, yes, Spider-Man's coming back no matter what Sony does. Like, they actually said that specifically, called out Sony with that. So that whole, if you were worried about us not having him in Marvel movies again, he is coming back.
All right.
So
I didn't catch that.
He's been on the set for Infinity War
yeah.
anyway, so
okay.
we know he's in that for sure.
All right.
We'll see what else happens too.
Yeah.
I hope that I get to see him grow more as well.
I kind of want to see an adult Spider-Man. Like, I want to see this. I want to see Holland
Like
grow
10 years.
into, like, well, maybe not necessarily the actor, but like Holland's Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, become an adult.
Yeah.
And that's something that this movie did well. Like, you're right, JP. It did actually kind of make you connect with him and maybe see a little bit of your own, like, sort of teenage awkwardness in him a little bit. Okay, guys, so we're getting ready to move into our spoiler section, but first, we're going to give a, good movie, bad movie, or meh kind of score. We're not giving a final score yet until the spoilers, so come back later and watch the spoiler sections of this video if you want to see our final scores. But I'm definitely giving this movie a good movie. Go see it. Go check it out in the theaters if you just want to go see a movie on a Saturday night or something.
I'm going to say good movie as well. I really enjoyed the Spider-Man movie. If you want to go check it out, check it out.
Yeah, I'm going with good as well. I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, so that ends our non-spoilers section. Again, if you want to come back and get our final scores in the spoiler section, come back after you've seen the movie. But now you're going to see the Spider-Man face move from this side of the screen to this side of the screen. So while it's on this side of the screen, we are talking about spoilers. You've been warned. Come back and watch it after you've seen the movie. We were talking about tropes that were subverted from. The villain doesn't die in the end.
No.
I thought that was awesome.
I'm happy about that.
First of all, there's a crush character named Liz, right? Like a romantic interest. Because of course there is. In every Spider-Man movie, and really just most superhero movies in general, they like to give love interests. With this one, he's crushing on her the whole time, and it looks like it's building up, and, she's like kind of flirting with him a little bit, and they get to go to a dance, and, he's like
he immediately has to go.
Yeah. Well, he's getting ready to go to the dance. And for reasons that you haven't seen in the movie, or that you've seen in the movie, he's lost the Spider-Man suit at that point. He's getting ready to go to the dance. It's all fun, and it really does just look like super high school movie at this point.
Yeah.
Like, we're dancing around, the happy music, Aunt May's helping him put on his tie. And, like, right up to the point where, like, this crazy shocker happens, he opens the door, and immediately, like, the music cuts, and it kind of hits you. You see the villain standing on the opposite side of the door, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Liz's father." And, that surprises you. I guess it shouldn't, because, usually...
Well, it's one of those it's a perfect twist, where when you see it,
it
you're
makes
like,
sense.
Of course he's her
Yeah.
father. That makes perfect sense for the drama, but it wasn't predictable at all.
Yeah,
there were no hints.
Yeah,
no
hints at it. All you knew is that he had a family, which, whatever. But you didn't expect it to kind of connect back to his friends. And he takes her to the dance. He's sitting in the car with the villain. The villain is driving them to their dance, which is really funny to watch.
And the close-up on his, face, that was, like, one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, he's, like, all shocked and scared.
Yeah, the tension was really good.
Yeah,
there.
you don't really know how he's going to respond. He looks like a scared kid dealing with some big bad person, at that point. And he's, he tells him, like, listen, don't get involved with my business anymore. And so Peter goes into the dance and basically stands up Liz. Is like, listen, I gotta go, like, right now. Goes and fights the dad. And you expect at this point, like, I'm sitting in the theater, I'm like, okay, you know exactly what's gonna happen. He's going to kill the villain. The villain's gonna beg him not to tell his daughter.
Sort of like the Tobey Maguire.
Well, Tobey Maguire and Garfield both did that. Doesn't happen. Spider-Man rescues the villain, saves his life. He goes to jail. His family finds out what he was doing, and they end up having to move. And so he does not get what the love interest
the girl.
in the end, which is really sad. But I'm also kind of like, okay, that's all right. To be honest, I was kind of not rooting for him to get with her anyway. I was rooting for somebody else.
Yeah,
but,
it's early for that character to get attached to somebody. And so not to draw that out, I think, is a smart writing decision.
Yeah. But like we said, subversion from a lot of the tropes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anything stick out to you?
Well, I just wanted to hit on the rest of the supporting cast. So in particular, his guy in the chair, Ned,
guy in the chair.
and of course the others. But I thought he did a great job. I thought that Ned and Peter, right? Ned and Peter had good chemistry, and I'd believe them as friends in real life.
I kind of see Ned as like the dork that we all kind of are. You know what I mean? Like, he's like that audience perspective character. He's sitting there like, oh my gosh, you're Spider-Man, you're so cool.
Yeah, he's like fanboying out.
Just like, like you're hopefully doing in the audience. Like, oh, so he's supposed to kind of be like your window into the world.
The whole sequence of
him in the chair.
Before that, right after he finds out, basically they're in school and he won't leave him alone.
Yeah, he keeps
and
asking
he's like,
all the dumb questions.
Can you shoot Venom? And like just all this stuff. If I was Spider-Man, I'd do this and that and this and that.
I was like,
so yeah, you're right. That's the audience perspective.
Exactly.
It's like if I was Spider-Man, I'd sleep on the ceiling. And,
For me, I was like, shut up. He's telling you to leave him alone.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought he was funny. I kind of hope, honestly, a part of me was kind of wanting to see Ned go be Spider-Man a little bit. Like, I wanted to see him going around in the suit for a little bit. And we kind of get something like that. He stops the bag at one point by picking up the web shooter. And,
In the comic books, I was doing a little bit of research to make sure I knew all the characters' names. I came across something where Ned Leeds becomes the third Hobgoblin. I'm not sure they're going to do it with this one because how big he is. But if they do, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Pretty much he gets mind control.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
That's interesting.
We'll see if it goes in that direction. That would probably take at least another 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah.
When they're in college and he has lost a little bit of weight.
Yeah. Well, maybe not even that. Like, honestly, I don't mind the idea.
No,
I
don't.
Like a big
could be different. It's just he's saying it's unlikely that a studio would do that.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think so.
So back to spoilers. It is true. Aunt May is supposed to be like the hot woman, I guess. But here's the thing, though. Like, I didn't really
see her as that.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody else in there was like, she's sort of like this MILF kind of character, but I don't know. She just looked like an aunt to me. You know what I mean?
Well, that may be intentional.
Yeah.
She needs to if she's playing an aunt character.
Yeah.
And she acts like one. She's kind of like the cool
crazy
aunt.
mom.
Yeah.
She's a little, offbeat and kind of weird, but
I
thought she fit the bill.
Yeah, she was fun. Pretty much the only support, like in general, the supporting cast I thought was pretty good. The only one I didn't think was very useful was Happy, and I was disappointed because, Happy in particular, I really wanted Happy to kind of have like this like funny, Peter is annoying him kind of relationship with
maybe like an uncle type thing.
And that it starts off like that. It starts off like, oh, he's annoying me and he keeps texting me and I keep ignoring his calls and his texts. But he doesn't really show up that much, and when he does, he basically just says "screw you" and goes away.
Yeah.
So he could have been utilized a little more. I think it would have been a funnier, more interesting kind of tie to Stark. Kind of remind us that was a thing that was supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some stuff that was cut that had more Happy.
Yeah.
Probably.
But at the same time, I'd imagine that it's a little bit hard to squish the Tony Stark father figure stuff in, as well as the Happy uncle, I guess, whatever he is, to Peter. Yeah. It could get a little crowded.
I think maybe.
So I understand leaving that out, but you're right. It makes him kind of feel like he's barely even there. He's just a guy on the phone.
He was supposed to be like an interesting little like I said, like the comic, Peter bothering him and him getting annoyed kind of foil, but it didn't happen. Hopefully, in the next one, or wherever Spider-Man shows up again, it will happen, because I think that could be funny, especially because at the end he kind of like starts being like, "Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate your help." And then there's a little joke where like he's in a high school bathroom, and he's saying all this stuff, but he gets interrupted by like a toilet flushing and some kid coming out of a urinal. So it looked like they were kind of trying to go in that and build that up. So maybe they can do that more in the movie.
There's one point in the movie where I felt like a really big connection with the Tobey Maguire movie, specifically the second one, when he was trying to keep the boat from splitting apart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You have to have that.
You kind of have to
The
see
Jesus
that.
pose.
Yeah,
The whole I'm pulling it, but
Yeah.
you think that that's gonna be like the big moment. He's gonna get all worn out, but he doesn't really get a chance to do that. Stark comes and saves the day for him, and he before he can even get worn out, his suit doesn't tear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought of that too. I think that was supposed to be a little reference to
Yeah, I
it.
think so too.
By the way, Shocker's in this movie, just so you know, and it's I guess sort of an origin story for Shocker. He does, again, another guy that doesn't get explored a whole lot, but that's okay. Honestly, I'm glad that they focused more on trying to explore these central characters versus trying to make everybody
Trying to fill up the universe all at once.
Yeah.
DC.
Like now Spider-Man needs to have or Shocker needs to have a vendetta against Spider-Man for some reason, so let's build that up in the same way that Electro was built up in the second one, you know. Yeah, and that's a plus. There's some of the cringe and the bad moments from older movies aren't there. There's no dancing Tobey Maguire moment. There's no I am the Rhino here for 5 seconds moment. And like we just
that was supposed to be a teaser for the next.
Yeah,
but it was all over the advertising,
Yeah.
which I know that's a marketing issue, but still, none of that is in there. There's no like bait and switch kind of thing. No like just put the carrot in front of your face kind of thing. It feels like a full movie is what I'm getting at, and none of it is stupid or cringy or ridiculous. You know. So.
Yeah, and it didn't feel thin to me either.
Yeah.
Like I don't often actually buy the DVD or Blu-ray of something, but I can see actually getting this one.
Yeah.
And watching it more than once more.
Something I will say, because the image of Spider-Man in like the jacket was all over the advertising. It shows up once in the movie.
It's also misplaced on the poster.
Yeah.
He does not wear it with headphones in the city.
Or
But the
his
thing is, like,
his under jacket that he had.
That would be a cool thing to see. I kind of was wanting to see Spider-Man in like a hoodie or something, like looking like a teenager, but with the mask, going around the city a little bit. I mean, it makes sense to me. So I don't know. That was something that I guess marketing again, but whatever.
Go ahead.
I also like how the suit worked. The fact that it had Tony Stark technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the techiest Spider-Man we've had by far.
Yeah.
And I think people were expecting the Iron Spider to show up, and so that was kind of like a tease of that. And then the suit that he does not get at the end because he doesn't join the Avengers.
Yeah.
That's the Iron Spider.
Which, by the way, yes, he does not join the Avengers. Which whatever.
Not till he's older.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because I was about to mention. What did you guys think of the way that they controlled his powers and kind of kept him?
Made sense.
I mean,
Made sense, yeah.
he's not just 0 to 60
Yeah.
in the course of this movie. He's trying to figure out how to even do.
I thought you were talking about within the lore of it.
Yeah,
like
I
the
thought you
fact
were
that
like
there were
the
restrictions
baby
on the suit.
monitor.
No. I'm talking about the movie in general. So
Yeah.
I mean, almost everywhere, he's in Queens or he's in the suburbs. He's out on the water more than once.
Yeah.
Everywhere that he's out of the typical Spider-Man element because he can't. There aren't a whole bunch of tall buildings to swing around and to get a good vantage point or to get the drop on the bad guys. A lot of his villains obviously fly and stuff like that, and that's
a difficult one.
that is to take him out of his element, so he can be challenged. But I just thought it was interesting that he spends so much time out of his element, so that he really has to push himself to actually get results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that this is not a overpowered Spider-Man because it is true. You're right. In the other movies, he figures out his powers. Like there's a little montage scene of him figuring out how to use his powers and getting all
and then
good
he's
at
just like amazing immediately.
Go
Yeah, and none of that that's another trope that it subverts from. There's that doesn't happen. There's no Spider-Man montage of him figuring out his powers and then being good at it scene. There's a lot of how does this work and why am I not able to do this? In fact, at one point, Tony is restricting his abilities with the suits anyway. Like there's a lot of features that he doesn't have access to because he still has to learn how to use them. He gets his guy in the chair to to kind of take those restrictions off, to hack the suit and take off the restrictions.
Which is in one of the trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I avoided a lot of the trailers
Same.
for this reason.
I tried to, but I end up seeing them anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I may not know exactly what the trailers gave away and what it didn't. But
Yeah.
anyway, he takes the restriction off the suit for him, and now he's like trying to figure out how to use all these, like all the different types of webs that he has and stuff like that.
The rapid
and he
fire.
keeps choosing the wrong things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So see, he's not. This is not an experienced Spider-Man, and that's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Also, it even shows up in the web fluid itself, which I
Mhm.
thought was cool.
Oh yeah.
Because it's constantly, it does its job, but when it's
constantly
really under
breaking.
strain, it
Yeah.
starts the strands break, or it's not, it doesn't stick well enough, or just whatever. So it's a small detail, but I think that
Mhm.
goes a long way with kind of putting him in his place.
I also like how he actually has to have little capsules, not like the Tobey Maguire one who just had unlimited.
Yeah, Garfield had capsules too. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you see him put in the capsules.
Yeah, that's
like
what I
he's
mean.
running out
Yeah.
of so for Phil.
I think that's probably good for the movie. Overall, I prefer when he has it naturally.
It makes more sense. He's Spider-Man.
think-
See,
Well, yeah.
I don't think it makes more sense because like the glands would then have to actually develop underneath
He would,
the skin.
he would still have some kind of a limited reserve.
Yeah.
But I'm
Also,
just
how's
saying,
it
my
coming out of
personal
his skull?
preference is when it's natural, but it's better for the movie that
It
it's
is,
better
it's-
for story in general that he's got limits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The movie does a good job of keeping him, under wraps, low to the ground, as they put it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say that he's a pushover either. Like, he does look cool when he fights.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
fun to watch. You don't see him getting his butt kicked all the time.
But no,
he-
he still inherited those natural
reflexes and stuff.
reflexes, agility.
It's just a matter of learning how to use it. But there's what do you guys think of the scene where like he was crushed by the rubble?
Oh, that also had beats to the second movie when he was trying to save MJ from like the falling building.
Mm-hmm.
That it reminded me of that as well. Like I really liked it.
Yeah, he gets covered in a bunch of rubble at one point. If you're watching this part, you probably already know.
Yeah.
But he gets covered in a bunch of rubble, and he legit like it's kind of hard to watch a little bit because he's crushed.
He's crying like a
he's-
kid.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
crushed little kid underneath a bunch of heavy construction stuff, material and buildings, and you're sitting there like, wow, he's totally just a dude who got in over his head. But then he decides like, no, I can do this. I am Spider-Man, and manages to get
pushes
himself.
a little harder.
Yeah.
You're expecting Iron Man to show up at that point, and he doesn't.
Yeah, I thought
So,
someone might. Yeah.
I thought for sure that Iron Man was going to come save him and give him a pep talk or something.
I did enjoy the Stan Lee cameo. I think it is one of his better ones. It's certainly one of his more funny ones as well. You guys remember?
Yeah, he's
how
like
it was,
sticking his
right?
head out of a window and
Talking
shouting
to the
at.
old lady across
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
street.
Well, it's funny. I watched a What Culture video recently where they mentioned how each Stan Lee cameo is progressively getting more and more like this player old man kind of thing. Right up to the Deadpool one where he's like a DJ in a strip club. And I kind of was just sitting there thinking, like, when he's like, oh, hi, Marcia, or whatever her name was. How's your mother doing? I'm like, okay. I can't help but look at that weird, having seen that What Culture video. So overall, it's a fun movie. Like we said, definitely worth a watch. We're going to go ahead and give our final scores, and we're going to start with JP.
This is a hard one. I want to give it a 7, but I think I'm going to push up to an 8. Mostly because I really did enjoy the movie. I felt as though Spider-Man was more organic and this more believable than the previous two. For me, at least. Give it a watch if you want to.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be a little bit meaner. It was a fun movie. I liked it. It was good. It was solid. It was enjoyable. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7 because it was fun. There's a lot of good. You should watch it. It's not a bad movie at all. That's not what I'm saying. But it maybe could have used a little bit more superhero-y-ness added to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, if that's what you're going for.
I don't know. It was fun. So I'm going to give it a 7. It's definitely a good watch. You definitely should see it in the theater. One thing I'm going to mention, though, we actually wound up having to see the 3D version. Don't see it in 3D. It's not worth it to see it in 3D. It doesn't add anything to this movie. I thought maybe web slinging would be fun to watch in 3D. But
yeah, I guess the most
doesn't really
the only time I really noticed it was when there was some fire in the foreground,
Mm-hmm.
and there were little wisps of sparks and things,
Yeah.
and that actually looked like it was right in front of my face, and I had to do a quick double take. But yeah, it wasn't that 3D. If you don't mind spending $15-$16 just to get that extra depth, and it doesn't give you a headache, then I'd say do that anyway.
Yeah.
But it's true that it doesn't add anything. Although I haven't seen a movie that adds in 3D
Well, Star Trek.
since Avatar.
Star Trek did. I thought that Star Trek was pretty fun in 3D. But anyway, so
Okay,
yeah,
back on track.
For me, it's a 7.
I'm actually gonna go with the 9.
Oh wow.
Oh.
If I say that I would buy the disc, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, that's actually saying a lot. Because, like I said, most movies I see them once. I remember stories really, really well. So it has to be good. It has to have a lot of those twists, and it has to be very charming, in order for me to want to see it 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
Which is what you want in something that you're actually going to spend money on and buy. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the 9.
I should mention we're all pretty. I think we're all pretty decently big Spider-Man fans here.
I remember watching the Tobey Maguire one as a kid.
Yeah, we grew up with the movies as kids, and I'm sure you saw like a cartoon or something, right?
Yeah, I used to watch the cartoon.
Yeah, so it was as people who actually do genuinely enjoy Spider-Man, and not just people who are watching it because it's the next superhero movie. I feel satisfied, and I'm excited for it. I like this Spider-Man. This is probably my favorite iteration of Spider-Man.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I think it's the most well-rounded.
Yeah.
Again, not there were a lot of good things with both of the previous versions.
Yeah, they're not bad movies.
But except for 3. But
Except for 3.
Don't count 3.
but this was definitely the best.
Yeah.
That wraps up our freestyle review of Spider-Man Homecoming. Like we said, go ahead and see it. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Tell us what you thought of the movie. What were some of your favorite parts? Do you think it subverted from some of the Spider-Man tropes enough? Do you think it was predictable? What are your thoughts? Tell us about it in the comments.
Till next time, I'm TJ.
I'm JP.
And I'm CP, and we'll see you next time
On our round.